Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to this edition of T Bird Live. I'm your host, Trina Bird, and I am so excited to be tapping into Corpus Christi, Texas this evening with Kory Lavine, Full Burner Custom Gifts. And in a minute, he's going to tell us all about his business and exactly how he got started, all the things that are important to him about this business, and just enlighten our guests on how important business startup is in terms of doing your own thing. We're going to talk about that and many other subjects as we progress to our show. Welcome, Kory Lavine. How are you tonight? Coming all the way to us from Corpus Christi.
I am very good. And yourself, Ms. Bird, how you doing?
I'm so good. You know what? Last week we had a young lady. She got up 4 o'clock in the morning, Kory, from India. It was an amazing show. It really was, and she was just enlightening. But the fact that she was up 4 o'clock in the morning to do my little old show, I was so happy. So I appreciate you. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and we'll take it from there.
Well, first off, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here, hollering at you from Corpus Christi, Texas, by way of Houston, Texas. Um, First things first, I am a naval veteran. I did 10 years of active duty service, and I got out in
Thank you,
2009.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you for your support. I got out in 2009, and after that, I kind of nibbled around trying to find what I really wanted to do. I ended up being diagnosed with PTSD, depression from my time inside, and the creativity started from there. I originally started with woodworking, kind of as a therapy, as talking to my psychiatrist and so forth. This is in therapy as a therapy method, and it just kind of spun off from there. I started off making wooden coasters. What's it called? Shadow box frames and so forth for various friends of mine. And then it just gravitated into what a lot of people see on my Instagram and Facebook, custom tumblers to a lot of resin art to t-shirts to coasters and mouse pads and so on and so forth. So it just kind of grew up from there. Being out of the military as any veteran will tell you, it's difficult if you don't
We
have
kind of
something.
we can hear you, but we hear you a little bit low.
Okay,
Something.
let me see. That better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay,
That's it.
I apologize. My voice kind of trails out a little bit, but it's it. I just needed something to get that creativity out and take my mind out of where PTSD diagnosed veterans kind of go to. So that's what led into Full Burner. Now, Full Burner, I have a lot of people ask me that. I used to work on aircrafts before I became military police. And one of my favorite sights in the military was watching an aircraft take off of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. And the first thing they do is go into what's called full afterburner, and that's before they take off. That sight was so beautiful to me that I was like, okay, you got to charge hard, you got to go full through, and you got to give it everything. So full burner is kind of where it spawned off from there.
Wow, it's interesting, catchy name, and I think it's a name that people want to know. Well, what does that mean, and what do you do? And that's really what you want to have in a name always. And interesting enough, my husband was a Navy. He's a Navy vet. He only did 4 years, but he is in the woodmaking. He started off probably about 5 or 6 years after he got out, and he did clocks.
Mhm.
And I think he must have like 10 different wood burning kits, and he's really into it. That's amazing.
It's
I
a
need to
good
I
it's
need
a
to check with
good
him.
yeah, it's a good pull away, from the way we can get into our minds. I mean, everybody has a way they kind of get caught into their heads. It can be a positive most method, it can be a negative method, but everybody has a way to get into their heads and they need a way to get out of it. So that just ended up being mine.
Yeah, and believe me, being in business, people, sometimes think that, it's an easy transition from being an employee or, inside the service or a stay-at-home mom. But transitioning that into a business, people think it's an easy transition because they look at the end result. They don't see all of that led to that end result, and it's a lot that goes on. I always say to my clients that you got to look at your business as an octopus. You got to have many arms and legs, and not all of you can handle all of it. But when you're starting out, that's exactly how it starts. You're handling everything. So what year did you get started?
Actually, I started last year, last February, actually.
Okay, and is it a home-based business?
Yes, it is. All of my creation kits, all the tools and everything I use is right here. I created a room in my house. It's just nothing but creation. So I didn't have a huge, massive overhead having to go out somewhere to do things. So everything I bought and everything I use is right here at home.
Oh, okay, great. So you got your home-based studio, so to speak.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you got one of those wood burning unit, that big unit thing?
I did have for me, I had a laser engraver at first.
That's what I'm talking about. The late, yeah.
Yeah. I did have a laser engraver. Unfortunately, my business has progressed to where, woodworking isn't as requested as it used to be.
Oh, okay. So how have you expanded and kept up with the times?
Uh, I reached out to a friend of mine who is kind of in the same business I am, and she's also a naval veteran as well. She introduced me to making customizable tumblers. I'm sure you've seen quite a few of them. And from there, I just exploded from there, from customizable tumblers to t-shirts to mouse pads, sublimation printing and so forth. It's expanded like exponentially so far. Now I got so many things coming up and people are looking at me, and it's almost, even now after a year, it's still kind of hard to keep up sometimes.
Really? So tell me how you felt when you realized that your passion for the wood burning had to transition or expand to something that was probably as important, not as important. How did you feel, and what was there any kind of reserve that you had in going from what you love to do to what was really going to work?
um One thing I had to focus on was creating and creation. I developed the knack for the
It went out
woodworking.
again.
I said one thing I had to
No,
develop.
you still, yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Check your knob into your computer.
Oh yeah,
That-
it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make sure that's in. Yeah.
Okay. Better.
No, not bad. It was, but it stopped again.
I'm sorry. I'll see if I can. I'm just gonna have to speak louder in the sense, but it it wasn't as difficult as people made it seem out to be. Um, all I had to focus on, the biggest part, was the creation, the creative aspect, the creative outlet. I loved woodworking. I still love woodworking, and every now and then I do something to build around my house. But I had to realize that from a business perspective, it's something I had to let go, and I had to go to things that people actually, would use, they would enjoy. Uh, with that being said, I made a cup for my mom, and she has yet to even drink out of it. It's just sitting on her mantle, expressed to everybody else, and she's excited to show it off.
So she kind of keeps it as a key, like her trophy.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's try it without your earphones.
Is that better?
Yes, better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry
you're
about
perfect now. So
that. Okay.
I hear you in case our guests didn't, our listening audience didn't. So you made the cup for your mom, and then what happened?
I made the cup for my mom, and uh, from there, she showed it out to a bunch of people. And I think out of all the people in my first initial like transition from woodworking to tumblers, maybe five of them actually use their cups as a cup. Everybody else has it sitting up on a mantle or sitting on
Trophy,
the desk,
trophy.
as a trophy, or it's like, then they keep telling me it's too beautiful to drink out of.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, some people when they have to go from what they really love to do to something that they know that's working, there's a little bit of a hesitancy or you just feel some kind of way because you want that dream that you had to come to fruition. But at the same time, you were still able to create. It was the creativity that never changed. You just went from one format to another format.
Yes,
And you gotta admit, tumblers are big. I happen to love wood things. I just do. I'm big on it, and I really like old pieces that I find like at a flea market or something that you could restore and all of that. But I guess that's just old school. Today's world, it's got to be quick. It's got to be, I think they're just like plastic phobia, like just
understood.
that's where it's at. So you got to keep up with the trends. But your creativity, where do you think that comes from?
I want to say it's a family trait, but each one of us it has something different. For example, my both of my parents sung in church choirs, and I sing as well, but it's not to that extent. My younger brother, he's a baker. He loves to bake. He loves to cook. So everybody in my family has some sort of creative outlet. Mine just happened to be, doing things with my hands, building things, creating things. I'm just that's just how my outlet ended up coming out.
Oh, okay. And entrepreneurship, it sounds like that's a little bit in the family as well.
Surprisingly, no, I'm the first one.
Oh, okay. So they do what they do just for family and friends.
Yes, ma'am.
And what about that family support when it comes to stepping out there and doing your own thing?
Oh, it is crucial, crucial, crucial. My mom so far has been. I do a lot of pop up shops in Houston, and yeah, I live in Corpus, but I drive to Houston to do pop up shops because that's where so many of them are, and so many other. I try to support the the black owned or the black produced pop up shops. But my mom has yet to miss a pop up shop that I've done since last year. She's been to every one that I've done, from day one. And it just sits right there with me for the whole like 4 to 6 hours, sometimes 12 hours, and is just and sitting there talking to customers just as much as I am. Uh,
Yeah.
and and my brother has started coming with me. My dad's purchased some cups from me. My family has just been behind me 100% all the way through. So yeah, they may not be able to buy all the new stuff that I make that comes out, but they're the first ones to say, "Hey, Kory makes this and he can do this for you. So let me give you his card." So the support has been just phenomenal from day one.
That's wonderful. That really is because not every person that wants to follow their dream in business does the family support them. I happen to be one of them, but my mom, she retired at 62 and she came to work. She took about 6 months off and she came to work at my business. We have a uh, 10,000 square foot training center in New Jersey, and 40, 50 students at a time in the building at that time. And she came in as security. She made sure whatever was supposed to go out of the main office was logged and checked, and she made sure attendance was done. She was just always, we had to shovel snow. She was out there shoveling snow, do the bathrooms, make lunches, whatever. So that that found she was, my sister worked for me. Matter of fact, through my entire entrepreneurship world, I always had somebody in my family working to some degree, but they were in and out. It was my mom that stuck with me. My mom and my husband really, but for my original family, my mom was the one that was always there for me. every step of the way. And she always said to me, Trina, I wish I'd have been born earlier because I'd have been still in there helping you out. She's 82 years old now, still wanting to, she's probably watching now. So, but she's a little mad at me, but she's mad at me because she kind of gets the aches and pains. And I try to tell her, if you think and talk about the ache and pain, it'll stay there. But if you focus on something else. So she says, I have no compassion, but it's not about compassion. I just want her to focus on something positive opposed to something negative. So she's probably watching, because she watches every, that's about as much as she can contribute at 82, but she's still viable. So kudos to your mom, because when your mom is involved in your business, it just lets you know that you're doing something right. Because if they approve of it, then you're supposed to be doing it. So now you said you go over to you're in Corpus Christi, but you go over to what area?
I drive back home. I'm originally from Houston, and I drive home to Houston.
And you do the pop-ups. How are the pop-ups? Because my situation is we have been a private vocational school, state approved since 1990. And around 2014, my business manager said, look, Trina, you got to get with this online training. This is a big deal. And you have to get, you really have to start looking at the future in terms of training. No one ever knew about the pandemic. So we started looking at it. We started developing about a year and a half, going through all kinds of different programs. And then finally, I had a guy customize something for me in around 2015. And that still didn't fit my criteria because they couldn't get quite what I wanted. So 2016, I developed my own, like I should have done from the get-go. And we perfected it. And then here we come with pandemic. I was actually using the online portal for just people who work during the day. And the pandemic comes, so all of our in-person people went to the online, the virtual. And it's been 100%, just awesome. And I'm never going back to in person, but yet I got this big 10,000 square foot building left that I own, and I need to figure out some things. So I was actually looking for someone to be an event planner and schedule and organize pop-ups. So having said all of that, how profitable are pop-ups and do they really work?
How profitable are they? That, from what I've seen with a lot of the venue promoters, it's hit and miss, to be honest. I've done some where there have been 100 vendors, and I've done some where there's only been 3, me and 2 other vendors. So the bigger part I've come to learn is your outreach. Reaching out to people, reaching out to vendors, putting your name as well as giving them an avenue to showcase themselves out there, and then bringing the public into the venue or the pop-up, so all these vendors can be there. Profitable, it can be. So far, I'm averaging about $200 per pop-up, and we do about 2 to 3 a month. So I'm doing pretty well pop-up wise, but at the same time, I also have a tangible item that I can put in people's hands that they can see, and they can ask questions. They can hold it, touch it, feel it, and get an idea and say, yeah, okay, I like this, and this is something I want. They can either purchase what I have right there on the table, or they can do a custom order, and I can have it shipped to them. So to answer that question for you is a little bit difficult because I'm not sure how things are up there where you are. But having that kind of building and being able to, get an online outreach to as many vendors as possible can bring you a lot of vendors into that size of a building. And after that, it's just up to them and their social media following or their online following, reaching out and bringing in their customers or their fan base. That's usually what I see up that here in Houston. So profitability and manageability, it really just depends on how big you want how big the scope you want it to be.
So 2 questions. When you do the pop-up, do you have to pay for the space you're in? And how much does that usually cost you?
we don't have to pay for the space. The vendor, the pop-up organizer usually has a fee that we pay them, and they cover the space.
Oh, okay. And how
So
much is that fee? Excuse me.
um, the lowest I've paid is 30, and the most I've paid is 60.
Okay. All right.
So, but it can vary from there. If you can get it to where you have a bunch of vendors that's coming in, you can charge lower. But if you don't have a bigger vendor, reach out saying yes, we're going to be, then of course you charge higher because you got to cover the overhead. And I've had some vendors also cancel entire pop-up events because they've had so few vendor reaction.
Better reaction. Okay, and my second question is, I thought that a pop-up, if you were the only one, you would make money. But you're saying no, the draw needs to be as many vendors as possible so that their following comes as well and they'll
Mhm.
buy from them and others.
Correct. A
Oh,
lot of what I've seen kind of gravitates to, um, I like to kind of interact with the vendors next to me wherever I'm set up, because if their customers see me as, just happy go lucky, eager to sell, eager to talk to people, then yeah, they gravitate to my booth. um, and it just helps with my sales. It helps with their sales. I've had, in fact, the one I just did recently, I had a young lady who was sitting next to me. She sold drinks like infused teas, herbal teas, lemonades, juices, and stuff like that. And because she sold drinks, I used that from her to gravitate people to mine. Okay, you bought a drink. How about a cup to go with it? And vice versa. She's like, hey, you guys bought a cup. How about something to put in it? That kind of thing.
wow. And was she a potential customer to buy her own custom cups from you?
Yes, yeah, and as a matter of fact, she did. And she was also looking at me for doing some T-shirts for her, and she was interested in starting a wine label. So she was looking at my wine cooler bags. So yeah, we of course we exchanged information. She did get her own cup for her business, and she's also we're in talks for doing other things as well.
That's good. Networking is so important. In fact, I'm trying to put together, I have a dream.
Mhm.
I want to do like probably once a month, like a huge Zoom networking event. But I don't want it to be like every other networking event. I want people that are coming in as attendees to provide everyone on the call a tip that worked for them and
Mhm.
what they found to be easier to do. Or I want the whole networking event to be to help one another, not so much just to network and get to know people and hear what they do. Yeah, we want to do that as well, but we also want to maybe put people in groups that are similar to what they do and just try to, like, help each other. Like, yeah, I experienced this problem. This is how I resolved it. So maybe, we'll do like food industry people, wine people, and just like do a different theme of maybe 3 or 4 topics and put them in 4 groups. That's
Mhm.
my idea. And I think that that would help. One of the things that I don't like about all of these virtual events is that they'll bring everybody together. They don't let you really know who's on the call. My thing is, if I'm going to bring you all together, I want to share email addresses. I want to share contact information so that we can truly network with one another and see what is out there from coming together that day. But it
Mhm.
tends to be where the hosts are exclusive, like you're going to steal their email list or something like that. I think that, when you come together and you share email lists, hey, the next time you're doing something, I'm going to be at your event because you share email with us.
Mhm.
I think just the opposite of that. So that's what I'm trying to put together. And I really want it to be nationwide. In doing this show, this was I have my come to Jesus moments like on Sundays. I think God always talks to me in the morning, but on Sundays, I always get like a really good idea from him. And that's how I start. I mean, I've always done my television, radio shows. I started out with local TV doing a T-Bird Computer Forum Live, where it was just to, anything about computers back in the early 90s. It was a great hit, and it was live TV. Then we went to radio, and then we went to the internet. And so I've been doing this for a long time. But I also find that, the more information that you share with people, the more following you get. And I thought I was actually doing most of it where I would pick a topic and just, like teach people about it. But then I came up with this idea, that Jesus moment, and it was like, you know what? Do guests. Let them tell their story. Let them teach about what they know to other people. And so it's been good. I put it out there one Sunday. I'm booked until the end of April, the end of August. And I think when we first talked, I was like, I booked all these people, and then they don't hear from me again. But sure enough, when it gets to their date, they're like, oh yeah, I'm ready. So I really am excited about that. But I want to do that Zoom where we, have 40, 50 people on the call, and we just, walk away with 40, 50 tips about how you can improve your business. Or, we have so much information we can share, social media platforms and ideas, and just how to grow your business. But I don't want it to be go buy this product, spend money. But what free platforms are you using that really have results? So I really like that constant contact. I use that as a draw for my guests to come on, because it's free for 60 days. And it's a really powerful tool that allows you to communicate with your customers instantly when they open the email. That's what I love about it. You click on the email with the eye-catching title, and then you open it, you click on the email, and then everything you want them to see is there. So they get to, okay, I'm going to take a look at this. Whereas no one wants to click somewhere else to find out what this is. They want to see it right there immediately. So I want to have that experience with the Zoom. And I think I might tap into you when I get ready to set a date and see, your thoughts, and maybe spread the word. Now,
I'll be more than happy.
Thank you so much. I want to show some of your product, and you can tell us after the video plays. Give us some more insight about what we're looking at.
Sure.
Team Full Burner Custom Gift. This is what we do, what we can do for you. IG at Full Burner CG. FB FULLBURNERCUSTOMGIFT.
Did it play in this full?
No, that was fine. That was, you saw that showed more than enough, actually.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you got something that's really unique, in my opinion. And I'm sure people gravitate to the fact that your items are unique, and people love customize. They don't want their items to look like anybody else, and it looks like you are really reaching that format with yours. So tell us a little bit about how people can buy your product, what social media platforms you're on, and anything else that you think is very useful for the listening audience.
First thing I have to say a big thank you to my fiance. She helped me really kind of branch out on social media, because to be honest, I'm as introverted as they come. So it was really difficult, but she got behind me, pushed me, and said, hey, you got something, do it. But as far as getting in touch with me, Instagram, Full Burner CG is just fine. I'm also on Facebook. You can reach out to me on my email at fullburnercg@gmail. And as far as ordering things, everything you saw in that video can and has been customized. From pictures on tumblers to pictures on the wine bags, even now to the point we're doing granite coasters that have pictures in it as well. So it's, I guess the best way to say it is, and what I say to everybody else, no two things that I give to anybody or that I sell to anybody are ever going to be the same. It's always going to be different in some way, shape, or form. Either the glitter or the customization is just slightly different, or it's a different picture, or it's but I want each thing to be as unique as everybody who wants to purchase it.
I just had a brainiac idea. I hope it materializes for you. My son, he's an architect by trade, and my husband is really into designing and all of that architectural CAD kind of stuff. And they watch a lot of those shows where they remake the houses or rebuild them or whatever that stuff is. And I remember seeing an episode where they had a granite countertop, and this guy came in and customized the countertop with their family name and did some other kind of stuff to it. And that just popped in my head just now. I wonder if that's something to explore, because people, they like that uniqueness in their homes as well.
That's a little, at least from where I am at this point, that's a little bit further down the line, but it definitely is something I'm looking forward to. I'm always looking and reaching for the next best thing. For example, I have in my inventory, I have a ceramic tile that I can put a picture, a logo, or whatever on, and that you probably, it was showcased in the video. It's just a little bit hard to see, but that tile can be taken and put into a bathroom, put into a kitchen, or anything to that effect. So it really it's like I said, it just depends on.
So you're pretty much already there. You just haven't got the countertops.
No, not that big yet. No.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow, that is cool. Because then you could do that in your kitchen, your bathrooms. Wow, that is interesting. And let me ask you now. You actually do the pop-ups. Are you planning on doing a storefront, or are you going to stay pretty much a home-based business?
I have considered it the storefront point. I'm not ready business-wise for that kind of overhead yet. And I don't have, and personally, this is just from me paying attention and watching everybody do their thing. I don't see what I do being that big yet. And it's not to say that it won't get there, but I think it's more is because there's so many other people that do that, delve into the realm of what I do. And it's not a prevention. It's just, I think right now it's just smarter to stay where I am. Could that be a going forward possibility? Yes. Getting into a full graphic system where making hundreds of t-shirts and mouse pads and things like that. Of course, that is definitely in the future, and that is something that me and my team are looking forward to doing. But right now, keeping things at home is, more cost effective for us and much more and very much easier for us as well.
Well, let me tell you, having a retail location is overrated. It is, because look at me. When I started out in 1990, I wanted that building. We rented it first, and I think 2000, like 10 years later, we went through the process of buying it. And from the door was a headache. We had to go sue. We signed the agreement of sale, and then the guy didn't show up to settlement because he was flipping the building to get something else. And the people he was going to purchase from and flip with backed out. So he wanted to back out from me. And I had spent all this money to buy this building, and now you trying to back out. So now I'm in 2-year litigation to just get him to honor the contract. And I should have known right then and there, but I moved forward because I wasn't going to let him beat me. And the building did, pay off. It really was lucrative the entire time I did. But then look at where we're at now. I'll never teach classes in person again, ever, 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 because it's just so easy now. We talked before a show that I fixed this really crazy dinner and looked up and wrote it. If I had to go to the building, it would have been a loss. I wouldn't have been able to, all I had to do was go upstairs to my office.
Right.
And, bam, 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 I'm done. So definitely take your time with that overhead. It's ridiculous. People tend to want their name up in lights and have people ride by the building and see your name up in lights. So what? They don't even know when you're going or you're not there. it's just overrated. It's a very, I mean, of course, if you've done it before, you can really say how that feels, to be on both sides. One, having the retail location versus the home-based business. It's easy for me to say. And I yearn for a retail building. That was my dream. But looking back on it, I don't think buying is the deal. I think rent. I wouldn't even rent if I could do it. I could figure out the best way to do it virtually, because we're in a different time now. Property is not doesn't commercial property doesn't hold the same value as it once did. You got people abandoning commercial office space and letting people work at home.
Mm-hmm.
How much money are you saving by doing that? And you got a happy client. You got a happy customer. Everybody's happy. So take your time. Unless it's something that's like crazy, 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 I wouldn't do it. That's just my piece of advice. Because
I
I'm sitting
appreciate
on
it.
this beautiful building, and we waiting on God to tell us what to do with it. Because all these crazy people that have been coming up with these ideas, I don't know where they came from, but it's not an idea that we want to venture down. But you learn about times change. This world changes too fast to really be stuck on the old business concepts. Some things are always going to be the same, Kory, when it comes to business, but there's a whole lot of it that does change, and you got to keep up like the times. And you experienced that when you went from wood to your other products, but at the same time, you were able to keep your genuine heart with the creativity. But it's probably going to change 10 more times.
That's true. I'm waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, and that's just the way business is today. And my husband and I have been in business for 32 years, and we're proud of it. We're proud of all the things that we've been able to do, but I just don't like where business is now. It doesn't seem to be as decent and honest as it was when we first started out. Somebody could give you their word about something and it meant something. Now it's like, yeah, well, I meant it when I said it, but this came along, so I had to kick you to the curb. You just
Uh,
never know.
wow. That statement alone plays so true, especially when it comes to, doing the pop-ups. I get a lot of people that walk up to me and say, they look at what I have and they ask me the price for custom, they ask me the price for everything else. And and I answer them. And the first thing they want to respond is, well, I can go to so and so down the way and get it for less than that. And my response is, you know what, you're more than welcome to do that. If that fits your pocketbook, go for it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not in competition with them. I'm in competition with how I was at the last pop-up, or how I was yesterday, or the last sale I made. That's the only competition that I've come to see. So yeah, just like you said, it's there's a lot of dark side to this, but as long as I maintain the ideology between me and my family and everybody that supported me, is like, you know, just keep who you are and keep what you do and stay that course. And yeah, it's going to be hard, but at the same time, you're going to be happier about it. If at the end your business doesn't do so well and you end up closing, you can do it saying that, yeah,
You
you know
did
what?
what you needed to do. That's right.
Exactly.
One of the I teach business development, and I also do business development consulting. And when a business owner, entrepreneur hires me, there's one thing that I do with each and every one of them. I have them go through a sort of like a checklist.
Mhm.
And I may even, do some additional coaching with them. And that is, do you know what your value is? Do you know the value of your product? And if you don't understand what the value of your product is, you'll be that person that said, well, how much was it down the road? $10. Okay, I'll sell mine for $5. That means you don't know the value of who you are, and you don't know the value of what your product is or your service. And you got to stay strong with that, because if you're a 99-cent store product, then of course you got to be 99 cents. But
Right.
if you're a $10 product, you got to stay $10. You can't lower your standard because somebody came to you and said, I could get it cheaper. I appreciate that. And good luck with that. Go ahead. You got to do what you got to do, because at the end of the day, I built this product, I built this service, and I put a value on it. And I'm going to stick with that because I know that I've done all my research and that my value is set at the price, that the value of what I do created that price. And if I change that price, then I change my value. And I'm not going to do that. We have 3 food trucks. And we, up until the pandemic, my husband kept saying, Trina, we gotta, keep this going because one day it's not going to be. And I'm like, are you crazy? We're at one of the biggest malls in Maryland, and who's not going to come shopping at the mall one day? What bus tours are not going to come down here? I thought it was crazy. Pandemic hit. And we were out there with 5 trucks, Kory, and we were considered the gourmet truck because we had a standard. And our standard was like McDonald's. I don't care what day you came and when you bought it, you were going to get the same value product that you got if you came a month ago, a week ago, or a day ago. My standard was I'm not going to change anything so that every time you come, you know what you're getting. And now the price of grease to cook the French fries and all that's going from $12.99 to $47 a case.
Wow.
The crab meat has gone from $12.99 at the highest to $30 a pound. French fries you can't find. The fish we were doing you can't find. And I told my husband, we're not going out there to just sell something that doesn't meet our standard value. And I don't feel comfortable in charging. I think our highest priced item was like $19. I'm not going to charge somebody $38 because I got to pay $30 for it. I don't believe in it.
That's a similar situation that I ran into before I switched over from doing woodworking. The price of wood shot up exponentially, and it's slowed things down, and which actually was the final push that I needed to go into tumblers. And even starting out with the tumblers, that was a choice to make as far as the pricing for that. And just like you said, do your due diligence, do your research, and that's what I did. Every pop-up that I went to, I maintained my starting price, but every pop-up that I went to and I saw everybody else what they're doing with how they're doing things and how they're motioning, I'm listening and I'm watching, but I'm still applying it to what I do, what I make. So what it taught me was to go in and, figure out how much I was using for each item. And then that became my final price to create a profit for me, but still be low enough for people to look at it and be like, you know what, that's reasonable. And I've always believed, because in a former life I was a DJ, I for my DJ services I charged a lot lower than a lot of other DJs, and it got me more people. It brought me more business. I stayed ahead because I was charging lower and I had more business. I brought that same mentality here to Full Burner because, yeah, I may charge a little bit lower, but I know the quality of my product is going to make you buy more. It's going to make you come back. It's going to make you, and then from there, the more I did with these pop-ups, the more I started bringing t-shirts and other things. I was like, okay, I see another avenue. So I started reaching out to the businesses at the pop-ups and said, hey, I can create merchandise for you. Here's my card. Let's talk about it. That became another avenue off of my business, from not just using everything to be gifts, but it also became now I have merchandise for businesses, that want to get their name out there a little bit.
Absolutely. Because businesses really, really do like something that's unique, that not only can they give away to their loyal customers, but they can also use it to advertise. Because if you're walking around with a tumbler and it says T-Bird Live on it, what's that? You know, where are they at? You know, and you don't know where that tumbler is going to land up.
Very true.
You know, it could
Most of them
be
end up on people's shelves and and display cases. But yeah, I get your point.
yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, like I said at the onset, business is tough. There's nothing else in life that is more rewarding than working for yourself. It truly is. Because at least you know at the end of the day, everything that you had to put up with that day was for you. You know, opposed to making somebody else money. And I always tell people to think about it on that level when you go to purchase, you know, when you're home. Instead of renting and making somebody else more money in their pocket, you know, put that money into buying your own home. In fact, as smart as my husband is, over these 30 some years we've been in business, every when we moved to Maryland, he has for the last 2 years going to rent a tiller and for his garden. And I'm like, look, we gotta buy a tiller. We're not gonna keep renting a tiller. And we're spending, you know, you would spend $5 a gallon of gas to go down there to get it, a deposit, then you know, to pay the amount for it, and then have to return it and all that. So I just went on Amazon and bought him a tiller. And he put it together, tried it out today, because he thought they wouldn't work. Turns out they do work. They work really good. And the same price that he would have rented that tiller for, we bought one.
Yep.
So you gotta use that mindset for everything in life. I mean, having your own is gonna net you more than using someone else's making someone else money. You gotta make your own business. You gotta make your own way. And I always tell people when I do my workshops, this is the best. I've been in business for 32 years. This is the most appealing time to do a business that I've ever seen, because anything pretty much, I mean, you could do anything now. And I mean, you got these people on social media, you know, looking at toys in the toy aisle section. That little boy, 5 years old, his parents took that idea and went to the toy stores and said, look, he's got like 1 million followers. And now this guy's got his college education. They're paying him for it. You don't take that as like crazy. And you could do something too. Something's wrong. You gotta create your own path today, because it's so easy to do. Not like when I started out 32 years ago. No one to lead you, no one to guide you. The people that didn't know how to do something wouldn't tell you. And lo and behold, I'm doing computers, which was unheard of. Everybody thought it was a fad. This computer thing is just a fad. Nobody's gonna want to learn. You know, nobody. I have a school. I have a private vocational school. And back in 1990, I wanted to teach people how to use computers to get jobs. These computers aren't going to last. You know, this computer thing is taking the place of books, and you know, kids aren't going to learn if they're on a computer and all these different things. Look where we are now.
You can't peel a tablet or anything computerware away from kids nowadays.
They in the carriage, can't even walk, but they know they know how to swipe. So here we are. So you just never know. This is just the opportunity to do whatever it is that you want to do in business. And you know, we are proud that you know, served our country well for 10 years and then took the effects of being in the service and all of that that goes with it, and turned it into something positive to not only improve your way of life and your family, but also provide a product to the community that will appreciate it too, because you got all these trophies sitting up on the wall for your mom's friends, and that's always, you know, you can look there anytime and say, yeah, you know, I'm doing it right. This is my sign from God that, you know, I got to keep going, and I got to keep going in the direction that has been laid out for me. So I commend you for, you know, just believing in yourself, because it takes a lot for a Black man to believe in himself in today's world, because there's so many ingredients that say no. Don't believe in yourself. Don't do it. You'll fail. You're not good. You won't work. It won't work. But yet, we built this country. So how's that going to be true? That don't sound right. We got railroads. We got. I always go back to that railroad story when they had that guy. He was using his bare hands to stop the train, and he came up with this piece that would do it for him. I mean, that's who we are. So what can we not do? What is it that we cannot do? Nothing.
That's true.
So I appreciate you, Kory. Any closing comments that you'd like to make?
Biggest thing is just to say thank you to you and to all the other entrepreneurs and all the other folks that want to, push out and get out Black businesses and just businesses in general. It doesn't have to be Black, doesn't have to be white or Asian, Hispanic. Just having this outlet to be able to get out and put us in front of your fan base and get our fan base connected with yours and so forth. It's just an honor, and just being in business for over a year is an honor considering, the way things have gone lately. Aside from that, the biggest thing I could say is familial support is everything, from my fiance to my mom, my brother, my dad, and even family I have across the country. Everybody's reached out and they're like, I see you, little bro, go for it, do your thing and keep pushing, and if you need help, go for it. That's everything, and then when I think we've all in businesses have had these moments when you're sitting in your studio or your business or whatever late at night, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you got stuff, deadlines due, and the only thing you want to do is cry and just be like, you know what, forget it, go ahead and cry, but get up and get it done.
Absolutely.
We just had my fiance and I, the two of us, just had a huge t-shirt order, and my equipment started to fail. My cutters weren't cutting out the prints properly. My heat presses weren't pressing down the images properly. And I kid you not, I sat there, put my head down, and was practically in tears because I didn't think we were going to make it because they were due the next day. So we were up 24 straight hours, turned around and did a pop-up right after, and the customer loved the shirts. The kids were happy that they got their shirts for their band projects. So the work is worth it. That's the best thing I can say. And if you don't think it's worth it, then I think you're in the wrong move.
Yeah, if you're not gonna work hard, it's not. You gotta persevere. I know exactly where you're at. My husband and I'd be in there 2 o'clock in the morning, setting up for the next class. Oh man, getting because computers now, they kind of like you turn them on and they work. But back in the day when we were doing it, it was always a problem. This one wouldn't print. That one wouldn't load. This one wouldn't this one wouldn't. And we'd be in there 2-3 o'clock in the morning and then have to be back at 9 o'clock for orientation. So I know exactly what you mean, but you persevere and you just get it done. I had a guy that I worked with when I was a chapter chair of SCORE, and he said, "Come on, Trina, let's get her done." And that's what you gotta do. You gotta get her done. And you just do it because that perseverance makes you stronger. And it's a reason why you're having all of those kind of difficulties, because it gives you the incentive or the knowledge that whatever comes at you, you can overcome it and you can be successful. And I mean, without that, it would just be too easy. Everybody be doing it. But yet we've got, there's a certain kind of person that's an entrepreneur or business person. Everybody can't do this.
Like we always.
Everybody can't be, and people would always, oh yeah, I rode by your building overnight. What were you guys in there doing 2 o'clock in the morning? We was just coming from the, club, or
like we say out here, it takes a certain type of crazy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. One piece of advice I want to give you, Kory, and you probably don't have to worry about it because you got a pension thing probably coming from the government, but make sure your accountant does your business correctly, because if they don't pay into your Social Security out of your money, you'll be like $400 or $500 a month when you get 62, 65, probably 75, who knows. But that was one thing I didn't pay close attention to, and I tell people all the time, make sure even if you don't make money, you pay into your Social Security benefits, because at the end of the when it's time for you to collect, you want to retire early, which right now I think is 65. They're trying to make it 67, which is whatever, but you could do it earlier, 62. And you'll get the most that you can get at that age, opposed to waiting till you're 75, damn near 90, about to die to get the most. But you gotta pay into it, because if you don't pay into it as a sole proprietorship, whatever job you had, like your last 10 years, that'll be the rate that they calculate, opposed to those 10 years you were in business. Because you didn't pay into it, it can't be counted.
Yes, ma'am.
So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because my husband, he gets more than me. I'm like, I want my pension from that building, because I'm not getting it this way. Not through Social Security or anything. So we're trying to rent it out, lease it out. So hopefully we'll find a good tenant, and that'll partially be my pension or my Social Security check, because I did the same thing everybody else did. I worked in, I put my time in, and I wanted to pay me back.
Yes, ma'am.
But good luck. You'll be receiving a evaluation of the show, and in that you receive a free 30-minute consultation, business development consultation. And anything I could do to help you in that 30 minutes, I'll be definitely glad to do. And I wish you much success. And I want to say thank you for your service, and thank you for having been diagnosed with that PTSD and turning it into something positive that is fruitful for you and the community. So, well, very, very well done. Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Bird. It's been an honor being on here, and if I can ever reach out and give you a hand, let me know.
I will. We always invite our guests back, so we kind of go from like about six months of doing everybody, and then instead of getting 6 months more people, we go back and revisit everybody to see. I like that show Oprah does. What are they doing now, or how are we doing now? So we'll be doing that series. So we'll be back, and you followed us on our T-Bird Live page, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you'll see when we run any kind of freebies. We just did a Google Workspace for business owners, a free workshop. And that talked about the entire package, how you can use this free platform to run your business. So I'll make sure that you get on that list for the next one that we do. It's very informative. Tells you how docs and forms and sheets and slides and Google Drive, all of that can benefit your business in terms of the daily operations of it. And it's very, very informative. So I'll make sure you're on that list. But we also run different things off of our T-Bird Live Facebook page, and let people know, the different events that we're doing that help you grow in business. So definitely, check us out every chance you get.
Will do.
All right. Thank you again. Be safe, and God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. You too.
Bye-bye.